What's going on? It's Ryan from Master Director here. So over the last couple months since we've had to quarantine, one of the things that I've done is I've actually gotten a Kemper stage. So it's given us a chance to kind of play around with a bunch of different stuff, not only for our own tones, but also just start to delve into like gear that we wouldn't ever have a chance to play if it wasn't for the Kemper. So one of the things that I really wanted to try, since we've got 4 days that we had to self-isolate while we were waiting for COVID tests to come back, which we actually just got our results today. We are negative, thankfully. But one of the things I wanted to try was sound like some of my favorite artists using nothing but stock Kemper profiles, and then also guitars that Nikki and I just have lying around. I think between the two of us we have like 34. So I'm looking for Nikki for confirmation here.
It's true, it's in the 30s.
Yeah, we got a lot of guitars. But, so I just wanted to go ahead and do, sounding like Green Day today. They were the band that got me into music. They've been my favorite band since I was 8 years old. I remember seeing them on the Kids' Choice Awards, the Nickelodeon ones. Throwback there. When they won, I think it was for Holiday or Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It was the holiday music video they played, and that was what kind of threw me down this whole rabbit hole that I'm in. So the first one that I'm gonna show you guys is kind of like my replacement for Blue, or what we're gonna use for Billie Joe's like older stuff. So if you guys are familiar with Green Day at all, Billie Joe has Blue. It's like a late 70s Fernandez Strat, maple neck, and then I think it's got a basswood body. So it's all covered in stickers, which you can clearly tell what I was inspired by for this guitar. But one of the modifications he has is a Seymour Duncan SH4 in the bridge position, and he's got it tilted kind of like EVH. But with this one, I decided to do something a little bit different. I've got still a tilted humbucker, but it's tilted the opposite direction. I was a little more inspired by, or kind of curious to see kind of like the Jimi Hendrix thing, because that's how all of his strats were since he just flipped them. And this one, instead of being SH4, is an SH2, so it's the jazz neck humbucker in the bridge position. I know it doesn't sound like it should work, but it does have a really cool kind of like punk rock, just kind of like different characteristic to it. So this is a 93 Fender Stratocaster, and then I've swapped the neck. I don't even know what brand this is, but it was just a replacement, all maple neck. Pretty decent profile on it. And like I said, the SH2, everything else is pretty much stock. We're just gonna use the bridge humbucker. And then for guitar number 2, so to play, like our newer Green Day stuff, where he's using mainly like the juniors and stuff, whether it's a double cut, single cut, or his signature stuff, I have this, I think it's a 2010 Tokai, you can see the headstock there, Les Paul Special. So I've got just the stock neck humbucker, and then I swapped it out with a Seymour Duncan Antiquity P90 in the bridge, which according to the forums that I've seen is what he has in most of his Les Paul Juniors, like the vintage ones and stuff like that. His signatures I think had like an H90, so it's a little different, but still it's a pickup that he uses, same type of guitar, everything about it's pretty similar, minus the fact that I have an extra humbucker. So let's go ahead and get into some sounds, and then I'll show you guys all the settings I'm using, and we'll go from there. We're going to go ahead and switch on over to the view of the Kemper for this next little section. So for that first off that you're hearing all the dookie, I was using this Marshall patch, and I'll actually show you what it is. But we're using a JCM 900 with a little bit of extra drive to it. My settings aren't super crazy. I've got, a little bit of a bass boost, a little bit of a mid cut, and then treble and presence are both up just a little bit. And then going into the front end of that, I've got a pretty decent noise gate, sorry, here on C. On D, I've got basically a Boss DS1, and then on that you can see the settings, a little bit of drive, kind of a little towards the treblier side, and then a little bit more of a volume boost, so kind of like a more modern tube screamer setting on that one. And then last but not least, I've got a noise gate. So I've got a noise gate compressor, everything like that on there. And like I said, that's on 3, so that was for all of the Dookie stuff. And then moving on to the second excerpt you heard, go over to this channel. We are using, again, another JCM 900, but, oops, actually. Using another JCM 900, I'm pressing the wrong button here. This one, settings are just a little bit different, a little bit more bass, a little less mids, and then kind of a flatter EQ. But the main difference is with this one, he was using a 900 SLX. So unfortunately, I don't have an SLX patch, but I was using the DS1 again, but a lot higher drive. Last one was at about 6, and then the tone, again, a little bit more towards the trebly side. So trying to replicate that, basically the SLX was a 900 that had, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was an extra tube for gain. So that's really the only difference. You're just getting a little bit more gain. And this one has a much tighter noise gate on it, just so it really clamps off when you're doing like the middle bits of Brain Stew. And then moving on the last one, we have our kind of modern day American Idiot kind of tone. And for this one, I was using a Silver Jubilee. So for a lot of this, I mean, if you guys ever watch the rig rundowns, he's using JMPs. Honestly, I couldn't get any of the JMPs in the Kemper to sound close. They all sounded really fizzy and kind of just kind of thin for what they were needing to do. So I tried the Jubilee. It's not at crazy high gain or anything. And this is the lower gain Jubilee model that we have here. And then that's 75% of the way up. And then a little bit of let's see if I can get it to pull up. Got a green screen with just a little bit of drive and then a little bit of a volume boost. That's just going to be like your traditional, tube screamer, the TS9. And so those are the settings we're looking at. And let's get back to the show. Don't wanna be an American idiot. You get the idea.
Totally do
It'll
solo.
rock. The representative of Chicago has the floor.
So the representative of Astro Ever After?
It's the representative of the YouTubes! So honestly, this is a tone that, I was trying to dial in a Green Day tone, but I think it's a pretty solid tone for if you're going for, punk rock, you're going for even some harder stuff. Like, watching the rig rundown and also just kind of listening to Billie Joe's tone, he's got a lot of, punk rock, Ramones kind of influences, but I feel like there's also a lot of EVH, just especially listen to the older stuff, Dookie, Nimrod, Insomniac, like those all, you can tell that he's a child of the 80s and kind of listened to a lot of that stuff. So I don't feel like it's a far stretch to say that his, guitar tone is probably pretty heavily influenced by that. And this is just kind of a fun one to jam around with. Like, this is a tone that I would be happy, honestly, I'll probably end up using from now. So good, I just bent the string out of tune there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have ever done anything like this on your Kempers, or if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below. But I'd like to hear what you guys think. Did I hit it? Did I completely miss it? Do I need to try this again? I look forward to seeing what you guys think. So I'll see you guys later.